malleable.
That's a new word I learned this week. Can you say it again? I think it's a pretty word, but I have still a hard time to pronounce it.
Malleable. Well,
Malleable.
I think speaking fast, it just becomes malleable.
Malleable.
Like,
Okay,
yeah.
it's
Okay.
it's pretty to see it written, and I had like when you said it's like I had that like you said the association is like you have clay, you form, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like it gives me the sound. It's kind of like something you form with your hands.
Yeah. It feels very flexible. So I think of the word malleable like flexible. And so, yeah, to me, it's like malleable feels like malleable. it's, it's bending.
Malleable. Mm. And it's I feel this is so interesting in the whole time of agentic coding. I don't know if you've the same. Often we know the concept already from software engineering, but now a new area is kind of taking over. We need new words for it because the old words would not express the fullness what we've done before. But I feel like, and I was at Cloudflare Immerse this week, and there was a decision made based on how extensible a software is. And I feel when you talk to engineers and they have to buy certain solutions for their companies, it always has been an important factor to know how extensible is something, and can we build on top of that? Is there an API that is accessible for us to customize in our org? But with AI and with agentic coding, that's not only true for software that gets implemented in big organizations, but we might also consider this for more personal applications. You shared something about a guy who built, I think, a personal fitness tracker based on a UI of his treadmill. And that was.
I mean, we should shout out. It's Andre Karpathy, who's very big in the LLM space, one of the OG OpenAI people. And very, very cogent writer on all things LLMs. But yeah. I mean, that was a perfect example because it wasn't just about code. It was kind of about like writing code to help his personal kind of like fitness workflow, let's say. Yeah.
Yes. So for me, the level of extensibility that we were looking in maybe SaaS software that developers build on top of it now gets even further. So like a treadmill vendor or I don't know, a fitness watch, a cooking machine, like I don't know, they need to think of like we cannot only provide a UI anymore. Maybe we want to provide an API so people can build a custom personalized app around it. And it's not they should offer those apps on the App Store. It's more like some apps are so personalized and specialized for a single person that we might want to have it as a personal app. That's kind of my take from the treadmill Twitter post you showed me.
Yeah. I think we arrived. It's funny as we just exchanged some notes earlier in the week on this, and I think we arrived at the same kind of conclusion about like the future. So I don't buy everything to do with like SaaS is dead, that everyone's going to be vibe coding all existing SaaS. I think it'll hurt some companies, but I just think like the next round of successful products will be ones that give you a very sensible core of things that you actually don't want to write yourself, or where writing it yourself just takes too much time. And then you're able to just take that and run with it and make it work for how, like, one way I express this is, well, this is like also a very old sentiment, which is your tool should adapt to your workflow. Your workflow should not have to adapt to your tool. And so, yeah, it's a little bit of like that sentiment, and I think that is going to, that's going to drive who succeeds in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think I think the idea sticks with me as well. I also think that SaaS is dead is a very bold statement because maybe you can like wipe code now a solution, or agentic coding definitely helps to build one of those bigger solutions that exist, but then still you need to run it, you need the infrastructure and all of that. So maybe even there AI helps, but it's still probably, maybe we don't know what we say in a month. Maybe we say again SaaS is dead, but at the moment how it looks like I also don't believe it. So I feel the extensibility and the word that I've just learned to write, but not to pronounce yet, makes a lot of sense. Yeah, I was intrigued by the treadmill example because I was like, oh my God, that's really a cool idea. If my fitness watch or treadmill would have an API, that would be definitely a personalized app that I would build around that to like help me training for my marathon or things like that.
Yeah.
Do you have something in your mind where you would wish for an API right now to build something on your?
Yes. But it's very like specific and kind of nerdy. Uh, okay, so and like I should check how possible this is. I still don't think it's fully possible. Okay, so I wear this. This is an Aura ring. This is not an advertisement. Not getting paid. It's primarily a sleep tracker, but it also does like blood oxygen and temperature averages on your body. So I travel a lot. Oh my God, this is just like so entrenched what I'm about to say. But I travel a lot between the US and Europe, and managing jet lag. It's just like I want better ways to manage jet lag. I know from the scientific literature that one way to know. Okay, so basically, jet lag at the end of the day is your body thinks it's one time and the world is another time. And slowly your body has to catch up to what the real time is. And the way that your body thinks of time is like what temperature it is at what point in the day. And so this ring does like a temperature average for you as you sleep. And if you have that temperature average, you could calculate like when the lowest temperature is of your body while you're sleeping. And if you know that, then you can have very precise data on how you should, like when you should go to sleep before and after traveling in order to move that. And you can kind of know how well you're doing in adjusting to jet lag physiologically. And I would love to be able, like, the Ring app is not going to make that. They're not going to make that for me because that's my own nerdy thing that I want to do for jet lag. And I would love programmatic access to that data to build something like that. So that was a long explanation for what I would love to build.
If you figure it out, I would be interested as well. So just let me know. Well, I don't have the ring yet, so maybe, but if you build that app, maybe I get the ring. Who knows? But yeah, and it's interesting. So we talked about a little bit like for other applications, it will be way more important to offer that extensibility. And then also, I think we see something around agent harnesses that this also gets very important. And I think something we brought up this week in our discussions was Pi as a agent harness. And I think that also kind of plays into the same new paradigm, but for software engineering more. I haven't used the harness myself yet. I just read around it. It has a tiny core. I think that's what everyone is agreeing on, and it only provides 4 tools. Something that stick with me. And then I wanted to try out a visual diagram because I feel it's a tiny framework, but a lot of things are going on in Pi.
Yes, I'm sorry, I hijacked the screen real quick just to show. So I wonder if can you do pi.dev? Does that count? Okay, pi.dev works. It used to be, do we have to bleep ourselves? So like coding agent.ai, and then he renamed it to Pi. And it's fun. Yeah, it's a fun harness to check out and play with. I just wanted to show the landing page real quick.
But it also has the idea, right, that it only provides those 4 tools. And then if you want to somehow have an extension, there are extensions, but you could also just ask Pi to write its own extension. That's how I understood it, right? Yeah. So that makes it so powerful. Yeah. Have you done this? Have you built something with Pi?
I don't remember. I think. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I built an FP extension before we used Skills. I haven't used Pi a ton, but when I was playing with it, that was one of the first things I did was to build an extension that I think used some of the, like we discussed last week, the commands that I have that have a rigid way of working with tasks. And so I built a Pi extension that first knew how to use FP, and then second, could execute other logic in response to tasks, things like that. So, but yeah, it is like, this is, we will today talk about the extension support that is coming to FP itself. And Pi is a worthwhile shout out because it's a direct inspiration. Like the whole philosophy is that it's extensibility first. Like that is the first class of Pi. It assumes you're going to extend it. It gives you the core of what you need, 4 tools to help write code, and then you can just layer things on top of that work for you.
How would you translate that to FP now? So when we think about that on FP, we provide the plan, the implement and review, and on top there is extensibility.
So I'm thinking of it more like, basically like what we have is a simple task manager. And yes, you could vibe code that if you wanted to, but you're going to have to run into a lot of the problems we've solved along the way. And so that can be a driver for work, but then the workflows themselves can be expressed in the tasks. And so like one of the things that we kind of traps we don't want to fall into is review is a really good example of like assuming that you should always make a commit and then associate that commit to an issue and then open the review of that issue with the commit associated. To me, that is a very specific workflow. And we kind of tried putting that out there and, mixed response. And I think what came back was just people work in different ways. And so the most important thing to people, to users, is that there's a task manager that tracks what's going on. Everything after that is personal. It's personal for the individual, for the team, things like that. So yeah, in my mind, like for us, what do we want to do well? We want to have the core of like creating and updating tasks that have metadata on them. And then we want to be able to synchronize those tasks across devices. And then when it gets into additional properties you might want, additional statuses, additional priorities, like all of that is so personal, you should just extend the task manager with that. So that's a little bit of the philosophy. Yeah.
So you would say at the moment, because we built it, the FP is built perfectly for us as a team, but other teams work now differently as well, right? So yeah, I heard that multiple times at Cloud Code meetups. I don't do review anymore. And I was like, okay, that's also very bold, I would say. But I mean, it seems to be a trend.
It is a trend.
It is a
I
trend.
also heard I had it was kind of a little bit of a wake up call because I'm on that train of like review. I'm on the train. There was a post this week about like let's kill code review, and part of me is like because like code review has always been extremely hard, and I do think it needs to change. I don't think it needs to die, but it's a fun rallying cry, and a very good response to that was that is applicable for the 10 to 20% of developers who are working on largely consumer-based products that are new and fully embracing an AI. And for any enterprise that has to support various forms of compliance, whether it's like privacy or security, you need a human in the loop. So like human review is not going anywhere. You need a human to review the code. Yeah.
I mean, it's the same observation. I also feel there is a new type of, we had indie hackers, we have developers in large organizations. I feel we have a new type of persona in the whole field. And I would call that persona the YOLO solo builder. The YOLO solo. Yeah. I mean, it's often that persona that is a solo engineer in a team, and it runs Claude in the YOLO mode, which like I give it permission to everything, basically not only one Claude, but then also Claude agent teams. And that is the new persona I'm seeing. And for them, it's completely true. They kill the review process. They have a review process with agents. But then if you see them presenting and you see an engineer that works at a larger organization, they're just like, no.
Shock.
Shock.
But, I think all of this is to say, FP, we want it to be flexible enough so that it is the task manager you can use, and you don't have to go through the hoops of building your own task manager. And then all of the extra goodies you get from tracking tasks in this way are a little bit up to you. or you can just browse existing extensions, which we'll have to get to that at some point, for like a community extensions. But yeah, so that's a little bit malleable software. We talked about how Pi does it, how that influenced how we want to do extensions. Did we miss anything before we do a little demo, or what?
I still miss a pronunciation of the word, but that's okay. I will come to that.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So maybe this is, well, we don't have to do this here, but I have a, after this, we can talk about the pronunciation trick. All right. Extensions?
Extensions. Let's go for it.
Okay. This might be a little scattered because I do not have a well-organized screen. And I'm going to share the entire screen.
Yeah, you're not sharing, but
I know. I'm trying to make sure everything's okay. So we're gonna have. Where do I want to start? I will start in FP. Yes. Okay. So I'm going to switch to. I'm giving a talk today. After this, at a Codex meetup in Amsterdam, and what I did. Let's see here. Right. Codex review extension. That's interesting. I'm looking for.
So maybe for people who are not knowing where you are in our Mac, like in the FP Mac app.
Oh, that's yes, thank you.
Yep, where you can see all the issues that have been created on FP. They normally, if you don't work in a team, live locally on your machine. So, and that's just the visual way for a human to see them a little bit better than in the CLI. But you, could also see them in the CLI. And you are here and looking for a task.
Yes, and unfortunately, when I had changed this before, all right, this should work. Yeah, I think this should work. Okay, so this is a little bit meta, but just try to follow me. So I have this set up for my slide deck. I was tasking out all of my slides, and inside my code base that hosts my slides, I wanted to write an extension that basically anytime a task is marked as complete, that kicks off a Codex agent in the background that looks at the completed task, looks for, and then does a code review. So it's a bit more loose than our existing workflow for reviews, insofar as like the agent in the background, I give it all the instructions. And what it's supposed to do is say, okay, I know this task was completed. Now let me look at the Git history, look for what code might be associated with this task, and then perform a review and file tickets for that. So does that make sense?
It makes sense, but the task you have is only building slides, or is it a code base that also does something different, something else I'm building? No, it's only building slides.
Yeah, so it's just a slide deck code base. But this is, so I'm writing an extension for FP, which means that with our fun little task manager, there's this chunk of code that will execute, and you have to pardon all of the type errors. Because this is still experimental, and we need to publish the types. So in this case, what happens is anytime that the issue status changes to done, so if the status changed and it's not equal to done, then we just return. Then we do a bunch of stuff, and that includes looking for the diffs on the issue, anything like that, and then adding comments to the issue about, hey, we're about to do a review, and ultimately spawning Codex to review the code. And I did not write any of this extension code. So what I did is I told Codex, hey, will you write me an extension based off of the ticket? So this is where it gets kind of meta.
Okay, but question before you go on.
Yes.
Sorry, I have something on my mind, but that means you have to find the event, right? You have said when the status changes to done, then this should be triggered, right? Is it a little bit similar how you would extend Cloud Code with hooks? Like if you think of hooks in Cloud Code, and whenever something in the life cycle of events occur, this will be triggered automatically, and this is how you would think of our extension?
Yeah, I think we have a lot of other events, and we can cover them in future weeks. But yeah, for the purposes of this, it's basically just a hook for when the issue status changes. So when it's marked as done, we trigger a review. And the way that I set this up, and I want to tweak it a little bit more because I don't love it, but this was done in like 10 minutes. Meaning I wrote the extension and got it to work in 5-10 minutes. So when I marked this as complete, I got this review follow-up. So you can kind of see right here. I think I bumped it back to to-do. Just don't pay attention to that. So you see the comments on the issue, which is like once the extension was complete, it got marked. This comment is like, oh hey, we just finished the extension. It got marked as done, and then this automatic code review kicked off is the extension itself. And so then it says here, we'll file. We should do links here. We'll file follow-up issues under OJ, which is over here, and it found two things. So it was like, oh, we should have a regression test for the way that we invoke codecs in the extension, and then we should handle some failures. Well, that's probably true. And so now it's basically what I talked about last week, where I always have the thing review its own code, or especially like a sub agent or something with a clean context. Now I can kind of express that in like the task workflow itself, which is something that I rather enjoy.
Like instead of having this in a command, now you have it in an extension.
Yes. Yeah. So I know that as Claude is working, it's going to wrap up a task and then get review. I think another extension that I liked that Mies, our CEO, has worked on, granted I don't have it with me, is I'm just going to stop sharing for now. So writing an extension, and this is like very easy to do on your own. You write an extension that makes sure every single task has acceptance criteria, like very well-defined ways to verify that the task is completed correctly. And the way he wrote the extension is that anytime a task transitions to to-do, it looks for, you can ask an agent to just like look at the task, or you could even say, is there a section? You can just do a string match. Is there a section called acceptance criteria? And if there's not, you reject it with an helpful error message. The agent then sees that and is like, oh, I need to go back and add acceptance criteria. And it's a way of like, again, enforcing a workflow in the moment of how your task manager is being used.
Cool. I have one more question, because we talked about the FP extensions. Have you built any extensions for Cloud Code or any like hooking into some events? Do you think of something like that or not at the moment?
I have. I mean, like, so our plugin.
Oh yeah.
For FP.
Yeah. Oh, okay, fair enough. Okay. Sorry, I was not thinking about the plugin. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have also. Yeah, it's complicated. It's a complicated answer that I don't really have time for. I've done some stuff with the Claude Code TypeScript SDK, and I am wary of using that too much because of the weirdness they had with the terms of service changes last week or something, 2 weeks ago. So I didn't publish it or anything, but I guess it's okay technically because I did it for personal use. But yeah, I defined a way that the agent should behave, and then kind of use that as kind of like an extension to Claude Code, I guess. But it was more of just like a separate Claude Code that behaved the way that I wanted it to. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense. I feel that was a really great version on extensions and how extensible code can be. And we also know, because of like we talk about the M word, like it's malleable.
Okay, yeah, malleable.
Malleable.
Yeah, there we go.
We should end this now. I don't know why it's hard, but I think I did it once, so mission completed.
Mission accomplished.
So do you want to
Yeah.
say something else before we end?
No, I just think, yeah, I'll come with some better extensions next time, or clearer extensions, because we are in the process of, pressing the button to release all of this stuff, and along with documentation. But I wanted to give a little teaser for what's to come, and how it relates to these principles of malleable software.
I mean, I would be also interested if someone else is building extensions. Doesn't need to be around FP, but anything you do right now
Yeah,
with extensions, that would be cool to see and to know. So
yeah.
if you want to leave a comment or if you want to chat to us, we are here.
Woo.
Whoop.
Let's call it.